Well, I'm on the way to the farm right now to film a long overdue farm tour video that a lot of you have been asking for. I'm going to show the shop and everything on what's all around and whatnot. As much as I want to call this a farm tour video, it's also going to be a shop tour video where I show in depth of what the shop is and how everything goes, and because that's what mostly a farm is the shop, right? So I'm going to start over here in our old shop that we built in 2011. This was kind of our startup once we started getting more acres and whatnot. So here is our 50 by 90 wooden building that we built in 2011, and it's just a plain wood building with white painted walls and some cheap hung lights. It has a floor heat boiler in it, nice smooth finished concrete. This is a big giant mess. This was our old workbench that we had in here, and right now, as you can see, all that's in here is just packed in with a bunch of equipment. We got a grain cart in here, an excavator, 3 combines, a pickup, and the fuel trailer, and our water trailer over here. We now more so just use this for storage. Most of the time the sprayers come in here because it is still insulated and it does still have heat. We keep the heat on so that way we don't have to winterize the sprayers and the sprayer trailer, worrying if we actually did it good enough, because even though you flush antifreeze through everything, you still seem to find a broken hose or broken fitting every here and there if it's not just in a heated building like this. So we're still super grateful to have this because we can store stuff like that, especially over the winter. The corn planter also sometimes goes in here. Great building, great start. We got one 12-foot, I think this is a 12-foot wide door. 12 or 14-foot wide door, 16 feet tall. That we did so we could pull just one semi in back in the day. That's all we had. And then one 24-foot wide door, 16 feet tall. So now I'm going over to the garage that is attached to the new shop. In our first stall here of the garage, we just added this fall here, or this winter, a plastic wall up, and we have all the garden stuff starting in here. Bunch of plants starting to go. Got some grow towers. These are kind of just an experimental thing. And then here's a bunch of tomatoes going, and some celery, and who else knows what all that is. So yeah, the first bay here, that's for now what we're using it for, is starting plants, getting garden produce started while it's early in the year right now. So this is a 4-stall garage that is attached to the new shop. Over here we have 3 stalls of vehicles and whatnot. Cameron's gone right now. He went to go get an oil change, and Mom and Dad are also gone. With the new peach and brown, I'm now entering the new big shop. This is our office where we have meetings and obviously do office work. We also have a kitchen in here, so sometimes Wyatt's fiance's mom, younger brother, make food for us in here, and we come in here and eat for the night and then go home, and you all know how that stuff goes. Got a fridge in here. It is a mess. We do need to get it cleaned up, but I got no excuses. It's just a mess. Now we're gonna head into the actual shop part of the shop. It is 100 wide by 180 long, and then we have 30 feet of office and stuff back there I'll show you later. So starting out, we have 2 24-foot wide doors, 20 feet tall. It is a 24-foot tall sidewall, right, Brandon?
Yes, 24 feet.
So coming around past the 2 overhead doors, we have 2 hot water, you could call them Karcher pressure washers, which when you got a lot of equipment to wash, it's not fun only having one washing guy. As some of you know, I hate washing, and just washing dirty equipment in general sucks. You just get sprayed at a lot. So we got 2 of us, so that way 2 people can enjoy the suck. And we have water plumbed over here for all that. And then we also just have a garden hose here. These Flexzilla reels, retracting reels, are awesome. Which needs to be wound up because someone didn't do it, AKA me. In the shop we have compressed air. So we left the air compressor over in the old shop. So we ended up leaving our air compressor over here in the old shop up there in the loft, because then when that thing's running and being noisy, it's not being noisy over in the new shop for us. So we got a pipe down going all the way over there on the ceiling, which is super nice in my opinion. So here it comes out of the wall right above the office and comes over, and every walk-through door we have in the shop, we have these nice air reel hoses that we can grab, and it just about reaches everywhere in the shop, which is awesome. Pickup's got a flat tire, trailer's got a flat tire. We can pull it right up to the door here, zip it out, 75 feet long. It's great. So moving on from the pressure washers here, that's where they stay. They live there. They're great-ish. We keep blowing seals for some reason. I don't know why. They always like to leak. And we've also blown the hydraulic hose a few times. They are blue. And then this one has a hole back here again. I don't know why, but it does. Here we got a shelf with just miscellaneous cleaning items. This is kind of the detailing area of the shop. So if a tractor needs to be detailed or pickup or anything, usually park it here because we got this great shop vac with an extremely long hose. And then there's a few cleaning solutions, couple other vacuums, and it's also gathered a lot of garbage of an easy place to set stuff. And here we have a cupboard of a whole bunch of different cleaning chemicals or different things and different uses. We like to keep stuff relatively clean, but it doesn't always happen. And here we have our Milwaukee cupboard of all the Milwaukee tools that you have but don't necessarily use all the time, so you really hate to have it just sitting out in an awkward place. So that's here in this cabinet. Next, this was clean a few weeks ago, I promise. Our table that we made, our bench table in here, we made it out of 2x4 plywood and some steel. We got some pegboard that's still in the process of getting stuff hung up on it. We really want to get wrenches hung on the wall here and just get this more organized. But yeah, we're not the most organized, neat and petite farm, as some of you probably saw. We try, but you only get so far. So coming down the shop bench here we made on the end here, it's not completely stocked yet, but parts cost a lot, as a lot of you know, so we just haven't quite gotten there. We just got the essentials. These bins are for all kinds of bolts. So here we got lock nuts and washers and lock washers and the standard SAE bolts. We'd like to get metric and a bunch of other stuff. So half of these are filled, half of them are not. One day, that is the plan, to get more bolts and nuts put in all this, so we have more stuff on hand. When it's time to go, we can just run over here and grab it and not have to run somewhere for a silly little bolt. Behind me here, we have our toolbox that rolls around. This thing needs to be cleaned up too. Oh my goodness. This thing is pretty much loaded, impact sockets, everything. More power, Milwaukee tools, and none of them are actually in there. Yeah, that's our toolbox. When we're working on something, a lot of times we like to just pull that to the piece of equipment. It works out handy that way. Now down here on the far end of the shop, we have our DEF tote. This is where we store our DEF all the time for our diesel exhaust fluid, whatever you want to call it. For when our newer equipment that takes DEF needs it. I believe it's supposed to be stored inside, so, and it freezes if it's outside in the cold. So it stays right here, pull straight up. You can fill whatever you need. It works out nice. Down here we also have our welders. Our new MIG welder. We've never had a MIG welder before. I think last year we got this, last winter. And then we also got a plasma cutter. This thing we've never had before either till last winter. We bought this at the same time. Before we always just had a stick welder, which is down there, and a cutting torch, wherever that is. Just about every farm has a cutting torch, right? Also, down here on the far end, we have this big, giant, 50-foot wide hydro door. Which I'm not gonna open all the way up because it's gonna let all the heat out of the shop, and you guys get the gist of it. But it just basically folds all the way up like that, and you can drive in. We wanted one giant 50-foot wide door, so that way in the harvest time, like 2019, when stuff was horrible and you had to thaw your combine out every day, we could just take the combine with the header and just drive it straight in. We figured 50 feet wide would be wide enough because at the time 45-foot headers were the widest that they made. Well, then John Deere decided to come out with the X9 a couple years ago, and now here we are. If we ever get an X9, that whole just driving the combine in with the header probably won't work. Also, those of you that are skeptical on these overhead hydro doors, I wouldn't be. The only downfall about it is if you have snow and you have to open it, and no way of moving that snow because the thing to move the snow is in here. That is the only downfall of this. Otherwise, in my opinion, this door is better than overhead because you can spray foam it for insulation, which you're not going to beat that for insulation. When it's windy, you got a wind pushing from the east to the west. It's just sealing this door shut. It's pushing it shut. Versus the overhead, it's pushing it in and letting air in. And when we have good south winds, that's what those two doors over there do. They whistle all day long as the wind's blowing because it's just trying to push them in. On the other corner where the 50-foot wide door is here, we have water all set up back here. This comes straight from the well. So all of the water on the farm goes straight up this. And as soon as I turn this valve out there to our big 10,000 gallon sprayer or water tank for spraying. So when it's spraying season, The farm doesn't have water unless this gets shut off, so showering gets to be a little complicated. But when you're running 2 sprayers, it takes a lot of water, so you got to be able to pump max volume. We got the other 2 wells across the road that we had back when we had cattle set back up. So hopefully when this is running, the farm will still have water. Thankfully, I moved off the farm, so I don't have to worry about that now. Just past that, over here we have our oil changing station, as I like to call it. We get bulk oil from RDO, I think. I don't know, the John Deere dealership in Bismarck. They bring bulk oil down, so we got high guard on hand, always ready to pump. These fancy air pumps. Antifreeze up here, pre-mixed antifreeze they send us. And then John Deere 1540 engine oil. And that tank's empty still for future stuff, whatever we think we might need to put on that guy up there. This works good. We have 50-foot long hose reels on these, so we can set up 3, 4, 5, 10 things here and just get oils changed relatively quickly. It still takes a while for that last little bit of oil to always drain out. And here we just have another shelf of oils and grease and floor dry, because someone likes to make a mess a lot, as you guys saw in like 3 videos ago when I basically took a bath in oil. Over here we have more of the floor heat where we had to pipe it up. This shop does have nice floor heat, and that is the only source of heat in here. It is run by 2 propane burn boilers. Once again, another walk-through door. Therefore, we got another air hose, which is awesome. All around the entire shop, as you can see up there, are security cameras, all inside and outside, so we know what's going on. Lately, in the past few years, there's been some sketchy stuff in the area, kind of. You can't be too safe. At least you got them, and when you wish you had them, you don't. Well, we do now. Over here is just an assortment of piled junk. So back when we were building this building, that was when OSB and plywood went up to whatever it was a sheet, $50, $60, $80, I don't remember. That was so many years ago. We bought this wood right before the big C word happened, and it was super cheap. We got this for $10 a sheet or whatever it was. So we just haven't returned it because it was worth so much, and now it kind of just sits there waiting for the next building to go up that we're gonna need it. It'd be nice to get it out of here, because it's kind of just storing a bunch more crap, as you see, and we don't like that. So far, I've been coming in and walking around the shop on the walls, so those of you that are not keeping up. Over here, I have my 3-way stainless steel sink. I found this at an old bar along a highway. He was selling it. I offered him a little bit of cash for it. He said, yep, I'll take it. I'm like, perfect. We're putting up a shop. Put it here. This is my fish cleaning station and deer processing station that I got in the shop here, which is very convenient. It also helps for washing veggies and whatnot when we've got the garden stuff going. Then over here we have a spot-free rinse system on another one of the Flexzilla hoses. That is great for washing cars, tractors, everything, because our water's so hard here, and just it's so you don't got to dry it. It makes life a lot easier. So across from our overhead doors over there, we have our giant American flag. Now over here is our parts room. As some of you know, we have a parts room, and there is a lot of parts in here, but also not that many because parts are expensive. So we come in here, we punch in the iPad what we need, and then every place, so here's 790 stuff. Here's the 790 and all the filters that we need, and it's all aisle labeled, saying where everything is, so we have an assortment of everything. And the iPad keeps track of what we have and what we don't have, so then the dealership knows, and then we can place an order on it and they'll bring it down to us. We also have a pallet of shop towels, which is awesome, because you always seem to run out of these, at least in our farm, so what better way to not run out of them than to just buy a pallet. I don't know about you guys, but on our farm, tape measures seem to grow feet and run away, so along with buying a pallet of shop towels, we also bought a whole bunch of tape measures, so they shouldn't all grow feet and run away. We'll have tape measures for a while at least, I guess. We thought it'd be a good idea to have a shop sink, so that's what this little cheap thing is here right out the door, for when you're just covered in oil like some of us always are. A guy's got a place to come wash up without ruining a nice bathroom sink, which is right here. That's our shop. I do want to show you guys this. We built this for in the future whenever we need custom help or people need to come work for us during busy seasons and they need a place to stay. That's what this is for. And here's what I like to call an apartment. This is where I used to stay for a little while. Just a nice kitchen, living room, laundry room through there, 3 bedrooms and a bathroom up here. nice cozy unit. So here, these stairs look like this because they used to be spiral stairs. If I have any recommendations for you guys, never get spiral stairs. Dumb idea. We took them out and built these, which are substantially better. So this is one of the apartments where whenever we have people helping us out and they need a place to stay during them busy long days. So that one apartment you get into from over there in the shop, over here, when I'm back in the garage now, you can get into a second apartment right here. In the shop out here, that is 100 by 150, I believe, in the actual shop part. We also have 2 floor drains. One here, which is at the 2 24-foot wide overhead doors, I think you call them. This one has a super steep slant, so you can wash equipment here and make sure the water gets to it. And over there, by the 50-foot wide door, there's just one that's not, a lot less of a slant, but still a drain, so the water drains out. Pulled the snowmobile in here this weekend. I'm going out west to Island Park, West Yellowstone area, and gonna rip up some snow. We got a trip coming up. That was our shop tour video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. It's a mess, but this here we call the loft. This is where we come to hang out in the wintertime when there's not much to do, to work out, watch some TV. It's a great hangout area. So back here in the back of the loft, we also have another door that leads to something super cool. This here is our movie room. We got a giant screen and theater seats with some couches. On a good snowy, rainy night where you can't really do much but watch TV, this is where the family usually comes and hangs out and takes some time to rest. Above me here, we actually have an old windmill that you'd see, I guess in our area, you used to see a lot of them. One of them old pump check windmill dealios. That's what this fan is. Here I'll show you guys some pictures of what the farm used to be. So this is back when Grandpa was still in the place. Still the original house, but we added onto it and added a garage, obviously, an old Quonset and a bunch of old granary buildings. That was the first shop Grandpa started with, was that one right there. The barn's still here. Most of them other buildings are all gone though. So here's when, back in 2011, this one was. House was added on, still no giant garage, no new shop. Still had Grandpa's old original shop, and we used to have cattle, as you can see. We had a feed lot. That was the farm back then in 2011. I don't remember when this one was, maybe 2018. The house has the add-on, the garage, the old shop. All the older buildings are gone. This used to be a pig shed. Here's a more up-to-date picture of the farm. Got the new shop on there now, and that's kind of how it sits current day, just with snow all in the background. So I'll come outside here and show you guys a little bit more of something a little different, I guess. We still do have the old barn. This used to be a milk barn, you know, the traditional loft in it and all the whatever's and whatnots in it. And it was used for many, many years. And Dad, when I was like really little, we got out of milk cows, so the barn wasn't really used for that much. And it was a great building still. So he wanted to utilize it a little bit better. So he removed the loft, insulated it, and turned this into our new shop. This is our very, very first heated shop, was this little barn. And it worked great for when we were a lot smaller back then. Through the lanes here is where we had always worked the cattle in the wintertime. You know, they needed their shots and their whatnots and their hoodads. We had a chute coming out, and that way when it's 20 below, you're not outside trying to work cattle and snowing and wind. So we still have this barn here. Typically we put a header in it, but we do not have a header in there yet. We need to get it in, but there's just never enough time for stuff. It would be nice to get this thing out of here, but it's kind of one of the last buildings that are still on the farm, because it is kind of in the way for the big shop there. As you can see, the second door, it's kind of hard to use. You got to turn in there, but eventually this will go and there will be a video on this. Kind of an eyesore. And it doesn't serve us much purpose. It's so small. We could maybe turn it into a chemical storage building, I guess. But it is starting to get pretty run down and falling apart. Down here we have all of our fuel tanks. This fall you saw Cameron and I go get these 2 fuel tanks and get them set up. One so we can get gas by the tanker load, and one so we can get clear fuel by the tanker load, which makes it way cheaper. And then these are all just the older tanks when we were smaller and didn't need to get fuel by the tanker load because we didn't burn that much. I'm heading back behind the house now to our old pole barn that I think Grandpa built back in the 80s. It was just used for storing stuff, but it's got such short sidewalls. I don't know, is that 12 feet tall or 14? Nothing fits in here, but none of our tractors besides now our new 6420 we just got. Headers would fit in there, but that was kind of about it. So it was kind of just too small and in the way. It just didn't fit much. So now we turned it into, since we're growing our garden so big, we turned it into a greenhouse, I guess. We put this paneling on here. That lets it get super warm in there. We took all the dirt out, made a nice sandy loam, old manure. We're gonna hope to grow some plants in there, get some produce super early, which will be awesome. That's what this building's getting turned into now. This back here, our old bin site. Back in the day, 20 years ago, we never farmed hardly anything. It was anything we did farm, mostly went for feed for cattle, so we didn't really need to store much for grain. And now they just sit back here empty, and they probably should get scrapped and hauled out of here. Over here, not much to show. There's a little old closet on the end of the house that was one that Grandpa built back in the day, but once again, it's too small to house anything, so we got some lawnmowers and whatnots and doodads in there. And another small building that just doesn't work for modern day farming anymore. In the center of the farm here, where we get our power that comes in, we have this giant, I think it's a 250,000 or 300,000 watt generator for when we run out of power, since we do live out in the country, to run the entire farm. It's got a John Deere engine in it, and it's run off of diesel. Now I'm gonna show you guys our current day bin site. And yes, I know it's a little sad for our size of farm to have this type of bin site. Our only bin site is these two bins. I know a few people have asked, a few people already know, but these are the two bins we have. They're two 30,000 bushel bins. We built them, I don't know, 8 years ago now. It got us started, and yes, we know we need a bin site, but we've just been prioritizing other stuff like getting the equipment upgraded more and just getting more established. It is definitely in the makings that we want to set up a super nice bin site, but we want to do it right the first time and not have to go back and wish we did it this way or wish we did it that way. So the bin site is on hold. That's our start for bins right now. And if we need to store grain, as you guys saw this fall, we have the bagger. We have a butt ton of bags down there in the field. So we make do with what we have. It's not ideal, but it works. I do know I got a few comments a while ago that I've been saving and not responding, asking what our floor scrubbers are, what brand they are, and our sweeper. And they are called Factory Cat, made in USA. These things are awesome. This one is the sweeper. I'm not sure where the scrubber is. It's in here somewhere. But yeah, these seem like the heaviest built scrubbers and sweepers on the market. They are heavy duty. Everything's made out of metal. And so far, we've only had them for this fall. So far, we love both of them. It helps keep the floors nice and clean. If this is your first time watching, I am a farm YouTuber. Obviously, as you see, I do make a lot of videos, and I made a lot of videos that you guys can go back and look on of this whole last year and how the season all went and everything. So consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, guys.